Hi, Crystal Balls. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. If this is your first time here, welcome. But please think about sticking around, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. For everybody else, thank you so much for being on this journey with me. I really appreciate every single one of you, especially when I take my breaks that I need for my mental and physical well-being. Um, and if you haven't catched me here, you catch me on Patreon sometimes. I do have exclusive videos up there that will only be for Patreon. Um, so check it out and see if that's something that you want to look at. So there's that. Yay! Shameless plug. So today we're going to be talking about Princess Diana. Now, I have tried to do this about 8 different times, and things are not coming out in a linear fashion. So just bear with me. The information I'm getting is very stream of consciousness, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to start with her childhood and talk about her adulthood and her marriage and her death in order, because it's just not coming that way. So I have to be comfortable with it. I hope you guys are comfortable with it, because it's taken me a bit to get used to the information that I'm getting and how it's coming to me, because it's all over the place. So the first thing I want to say is Princess Diana had an affinity for Marilyn Monroe. And I don't know if that was well known. But the affinity, maybe not as in she was a fan of hers, but she could relate to her. And I believe it's because they were both public figures and had a scrutiny that was beyond what most celebrities even get. Um, have an invasion of privacy like no other, and have a very, very public life, but living a very personal hell. And I feel like they both knew too much, and they both were taken out of this world because of their knowledge. I don't believe the car accident was just an accident. I believe that it was something that was set up, and I believe Princess Diana knew about it. And do I believe she knew that she was going to die that day? No. But do I believe that she knew she was going to die young and going to die um in a manner of violence? Yes. um so she's telling me about the night Marilyn Monroe died, interestingly enough, and talking about how, I don't know why she was so fascinated with it, because she said things were staged. And maybe this is how she's relating to me, is because I know Marilyn Monroe's story better than I know Princess Diana's story. Um, but she's telling me things were tampered with, and things were not correct. There were a lot of people who saw the body before a medical examiner got there, which makes me feel like there were a lot of people who saw Diana's body before a medical examiner got there, outside of people who were in the ambulance. Um, I'm talking about a coroner. Um, there were details kept very quiet that, if they had gotten out, they would have shook the earth. So both of these women had an exorbitant amount of knowledge of things that they should not have, and definitely cost them their lives. She is telling me about Jack Kennedy for some reason, about how he came to the house after Marilyn was found unresponsive. And she keeps telling me it was like that for me. Like somebody big, somebody huge. And I don't know if it was Prince Charles or if it was somebody else. It could have even been the Queen that came and saw Princess Diana before a coroner got a hold of her, before she was properly vetted after death. She did die in that car crash. I don't want anybody to think that she didn't. Like, she definitely passed and moved on very quickly. She was thrown out of her body right away and passed over instantaneously. Like, she didn't have time to process what had happened. She was gone in an instant. And she felt no pain. It wasn't like that for everybody in the car. I want to say that Dodi actually, is it Dodi? Is that his name? Afiad? Um, Hung on a little longer, and the driver, did the driver die or was it the bodyguard? The driver died. The bodyguard didn't. Well, whoever it was. It it didn't go the way that it seemed in the moment. It I know they stopped the ambulance to work on her, but she was already gone. And I just feel like she was over across the other side so quickly that she didn't know what hit her. Excuse me, I have to plug in my phone. Sorry about that. She was protected in a white light for a long time. She didn't come around to anything. She wasn't around for 2 weeks. So she missed the funeral. She missed her boys. She was like cocooned because her system was in shock. And I feel like she needed extra time in order to heal before she was able to move about planes of existence the way that she needed to. She has not been reincarnated, by the way. I've seen several claims of people who have little girls who have claimed that they've been reincarnations of Princess Diana. She has not. She is going to stay and remain where she is until her great great grandchildren are here and taken care of. So it's going to be quite a while in our time. It will be a blink of the eye in their time, but in our time, it's going to be quite a while before she actually reincarnates to this plane of existence again. And she will reincarnate with Charles and Camilla again because they have karmic debt that they need to work out. And they have, they've chased each other around in different lives. And sometimes Diana won. Sometimes Camilla won. Sometimes Charles won. It just depended on what life it was. But the three of them are tied together in a soul tie right now. And it has to do with relationships. It has nothing to do with anything evil or demonic or anything like that. Because the royal family does have a lot of evil in it and a lot of, you know, questionable things that, I will do a separate video on that. That's too much for here. But I'm talking about their soul ties is literally relationship bound. It is not anything else. Um, so people wondered, was Princess Diana pregnant when she died? Yes, she was. She was very early pregnancy. Um, she knew, he knew, um, Prince Charles knew. So that means that other people knew too, and other people were not happy about it. Um, do I think her and Dodi Al Fayed would have stayed together? No. I think they would have been together for probably about a decade. But I don't believe they would have stayed together and have been, you know, each other's OTP. I don't believe that. I believe that Diana would have married a third time, and that person would have been her person. Um, but she would have married later in life, and more like a grandmotherly age than what she was. Um, I mean, obviously, she died in her 30s. Um, she didn't have a chance to be a grandma, and she would have been a hell of a grandma. Like, she was a great mom. She would have been a hell of a grandma. And she's sitting here nodding, yes, she really would have been. She would have, broken the rules and broken protocol, and like she did in life. She was a rule breaker. That's something that people didn't necessarily understand about her, is she was not to be seen and not heard, even though that's what they wanted of her. And that's what the royal family wanted of her, is to present herself as a mannequin almost, and be a person that agrees and supportive and blindly loyal to the royal family and um their perception and their point of view. But that just wasn't her. It was her for a while. It was when she was young, because she was groomed to be a certain way. Like, she was born into a family that she was groomed to be a lady, Lady Diana. But she was, set up in her life to marry big. And she's telling me her childhood was freer than what I think it was. Um, but she had a lot of opportunities that a lot of other people, her peers, wouldn't have. But she still was very closed off from other people. It was difficult for her to have friendships. It was difficult for her to have, um, even a boyfriend, because that just was, she was so controlled that just wasn't part of her life. And, keep in mind, she was only like 18, 19 when she got married. She was very young. Um, and very, this is the 80s. She was very inexperienced, and, she grew up in the public eye. And she grew up with this sense of people pleasing, and sense of not having a sense of self. She found her sense of self in the gay community. And I know that's going to sound strange to people, but it was really the gay community that stepped up to help her, especially since she was so open about AIDS and about, touching people with AIDS and hugging people with AIDS and, you know, being a bright spot in a rather dark part of a chapter of our history that wasn't that long ago, that we don't talk about much. And she really found her voice through the gay community. She would dress in drag. She would go to drag shows. She would do these things that were so outlandish for the time. And for the person that she was, being a princess, she was doing some pretty controversial things. But that's who she was. She was actually a very good person on the inside, very open, very loving, very humanitarian. Like, I believe that was the core of her. She was a amazing person, and she raised awareness and did things that she didn't have to, but she did because she was a good person. And I don't think she gets enough credit for the stuff that she did humanitarianism wise, especially in the gay community. She really enjoyed dancing with John Travolta. She really enjoyed dancing. She didn't have a partner who liked to dance, she said. Dodie didn't really like to dance either. This third person that she would have ended up with would have been her soulmate and would have been the person that she would have danced with. She definitely is around now. She's watching over the children, the grandchildren, and is waiting for the Epstein file stuff to blow up. Because obviously her brother-in-law, is that who it is? Prince Andrew, had his own part in the Epstein file. But, this is deep, dark stuff that I said I'll cover in another video what has to do with just the royal family. But she would have been a whistleblower if she had lived long enough. And maybe that's what I'm picking up with the similarities between her and Marilyn Monroe, is Marilyn Monroe would have been a whistleblower too. And there were things that JFK did that got him assassinated. Just the same things, but she knew, Marilyn Monroe knew the ins and outs of everything that was going on. Princess Diana knew the ins and outs of everything that was going on. And she knew this information. She would have been a whistleblower, but she was killed. This was not an accident. Nothing about this was an accident. This was very well planned, very well paid off. The people who surrounded her, the paparazzi, were very well compensated for their part in her death. And their families were very well taken care of. So if you just follow the money, you'll be able to see how true this all is and how easy it is to connect it, but nobody's following the money. I don't know why. I think they're afraid of the truth. She's starting to pull back her energy a little bit, but I think that's what she wanted to convey today is, yes, she was killed, and yes, she was not paranoid at all when she said people were bugging her house and bugging her phones and bugging the floorboards and listening to her. She definitely was not paranoid at all. That was something that happened, and I think she knew a lot more than what she was able to speak. And I think she paid dearly for it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe I'll do another one. Maybe I won't. Just depends on how she feels like talking. Otherwise, you guys have a great day or night wherever you are in this world. Remember, every single day is a gift. Use your time wisely. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.